So let's get started. All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, hopefully everybody's well, man. Blessed Sabbath to everybody. Shalom to the brothers and sisters that's online. Righteous salutations to the 12 tribes scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom, Shabbat shalom, indeed. We're going to get into a little twist. You know, a lot of y'all usually I'm doing Don't Shoot the Messengers either during the week or Friday evening or Saturday morning, but we're going to do it this afternoon. And to get into some of these current events, some of these prophecies and judgments that the Most High is laying down. Keeping track on what's going on in the earth right now is very important. It's vital times now that we stay aware, stay focused. Let's open up with a scripture. Sirach 5:15. Sirach 5:15. Shalom to those that's online. Ashar, Hezekiah, Brother Jackson, Baruch Ibad or Baruch Ibad 144. Shalom to you guys. Shalom. Shabbat shalom to everybody, man. As y'all coming on in, you know what to do. Wipe your feet. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Wipe your feet. Hit the like button, man. Help us out. Get the algorithms going. Sirach 5:15. Let's go there.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
Right. So ignorance is never an excuse. Ignorance is never allowed. The Most High doesn't condone ignorance, not knowing. We always want to stay abreast about what's going on as it pertains to prophecy, judgment, the laws, the commandments, the faith of Yahweh Shai. These are all things that's pertinent for us to kind of maintain an understanding on what our relationship truly is with the Lord and where we stand at during these times. So it's important that we not remain ignorant and that we stay in the know, meaning stay in the knowledge. All right, let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel, the 12th chapter. Just going to set the stage a little bit before we proceed on. Ezekiel 12 and start at verse 21.
Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 21. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth?
See, so now people are starting to ask and wonder, what's that proverb? What's that understanding? What's the prophecy? Are the days prolonged and every vision faileth? We're at a time right now where people are out there saying, you guys have been saying this forever. You guys keep talking about that Bible. That ain't happening now. Those days are old, or that's written by man, or the white man's tampered with the book. All of this other stuff. We're in an age now, and just as the days are old, our people was always looking for an excuse not to believe, as opposed to believe. Hold on, give me Habakkuk or Habakkuk. However you decide you want to pronounce it. Honor our beloved prophet by reading the words that was inspired by the Most High to conduct to him. Habakkuk chapter 2, and let's read verse 2 and 3.
Book of Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
So it said the vision is going to be clear. It's not going to be some misunderstanding. It's not going to be something that is going to be hard to be understood. It said it's going to be plain and it's going to be written upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Meaning it's supposed to make one take action, not just read it and just be like, oh, that was interesting. Oh, that was cool. Or dang, that was scary. No, it said you got to run, that he may run that readeth it, meaning take action and move according to the vision. Go ahead.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie.
Mm-hmm.
Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
So we're seeing that the judgment and the vision that the Most High gave to Habakkuk, and as well as the rest of the prophets, have said that everything's got an appointed time. That's why when people may ask, well, when do you think the end is going to be? When Yahweh Shai going to come back? Don't ask that question. You damn near trying to set somebody up for failure. You're trying to set a man of the Lord up, because the scripture says, man, no man knows the time or the day. It's not even the angels in heaven. So how can man on earth tell you when it is? Because that's that slick Negro that's like, you know what? How much time do I got? I got, another year and a half, or I got 3 more months. I'll wait till the last minute to get my act together. I'll wait till the last minute to get my family in order. No, that you're too late then. Just give us a little hint, and of course, the subtlety and the supplanting mind of the Jacobites, otherwise known as the 12 tribes of Israel, man, we're going to try to figure out a way how to get around. No, the Lord said everything is set for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, meaning there'll be no deceit in the word of the Lord. So everything that we reading, when it comes to pass, the Most High said, I'm not a man that I should lie, and I think it's in Numbers 24. So if the Most High says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It may not happen today, tomorrow, but it's going to come to pass. And then we're going to double back and be like, dang, the Most High did say that was going to happen. So it said, though it tarry, meaning even though it's taking its time, because guess what? We should be thanking the Lord that, these judgments and everything that came right away, because how many of us is really ready for complete collapse and destruction of the earth, America to be destroyed? Who's ready to be judged and set before the Lord, bowing to every knee to confess faults and deal with the judgment? I mean, who's ready for it? Are we all ready? Are we all prepared? Are we all saying, yeah, I'm kingdom bound. I got it. I'm sewing up. Everything's fulfilled. I got my, like the Christians say, they already expect themselves to be in the pearly gates, as they say. You can be wicked as hell on the earth. Oh, little Ron, he was out there doing. Oh, we know he's in heaven now at the funeral. Little Ron couldn't hurt a fly. But little Ron was wicked as hell when he was here on earth, selling dope, fornicating, acting a fool with women, killing his own brothers and all that. Little Ron was wicked. But as soon as you see him at the funeral, oh, little Ron, he never hurt nobody. He was so nice, and please. We know he's in heaven now. They got the t-shirts, he got the wings on and everything. How do you know that? Who's telling you that? That's the vision that the church put out there. But it said, though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come and it's not going to tarry. Let's go back to Ezekiel. So we patiently are watching through these judgments. We're patiently watching and engaging and understanding how the Spirit of the Lord is moving. Everything is happening in its appointed time, right? Pick that up in chapter 12 and read 22 again. Ezekiel 12 and verse 22.
Verse 22. Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel.
So the Most High said there's going to be a time that the Most High is going to make that type of attitude of spirit cease from before men. They're not going to be talking about, oh, the vision and failed. It's not happening. That's not in our time. That's going to be happening in the future. We ain't got to worry about that. The Lord said it's going to be evident. Everybody's going to see. Whether it's the homeless man on the corner, whether it's your teacher at school, whether it's your co-worker, your family member, everybody's going to get to a point to where they're going to see the judgments of the Most High happening, and they're going to be saying, dang, times are strange. Dang, it's weird right now. Dang, it's getting serious out there. Everybody's going to start saying, now, are we not hearing that in certain circles of conversation now? Amongst our peer groups or, friends or people that you may work with or whatnot, people is all saying, man, it's crazy out there now. Now the Lord is making good on his promise. He said, you're not going to be using that as a proverb no more. Now people are actually saying, dang, man, maybe God is going to judge the place. Maybe we are in the last days. You think? Go ahead.
But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision.
And what do we tell everybody all the time? Yeah, the days are at hand. We're in last days. Yes, times is of the essence right now. You're seeing the prophecies unfold. You're seeing the plagues. You're seeing the war. You're seeing the destruction. You're seeing the famine. You're seeing the drought. The economic situation. We're seeing all of these things come to pass, and people are still scratching their heads saying, is it really? I mean, what's going on? This is crazy. They're waiting to go vote, in November to see if maybe the white man's going to bail them out again. We're not doing that. The Lord said that the days are at hand and every effective vision. So now that conversation is changing. We have a rebuttal now to tell people, yeah, we've been telling you. Are you going to get right? It's not for me right now. Yeah, I know. I've been watching y'all. Well, what you going to do? You going to keep watching or you going to take action? The Lord just got to saying that at times that the vision failed, that you got to run with the vision. You're going to sit back and, put it back underneath your back pocket and sit down and some more. Go ahead.
For there shall be no more any vain vision nor flattering divination within the house of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
For I am the Lord. I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days,
When?
for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word.
The rebellious house. The Lord said, "Don't- keep thinking you got all day to keep messing around and as they say, pea-footing around with the Lord." The Lord said, no. It's not going to be prolonged no more. You know, because Israel be loving to stretch the time out, prolonging, procrastinating, trying to figure things out. I'll see what, you know, we need all hell to break loose. Oh, I'm good. You want what? That's the problem with Israel. Being that rebellious house, man, we, you know, and that's a gift and a curse. The scriptures say the Jews require a sign. We don't make moves until we just actually see something right in our face. It's just like the war that's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Out of sight, out of mind. As long as our people can still go to McDonald's and rallies and Disneyland, that don't affect us. It's not going to affect us until bombs is here, until, you know, you then got kicked out and evicted out your homes, until you can't, you know, do, until full government inquisition is done here. It's not a reality. Our people still sit back and say, no, that's not us. No, that's not going to happen all day. Oh, no, that doesn't include me. But the Lord said, all of those, that attitude, that spirit is going to be up out of here. He said, because the visions is no longer prolonged. And in our days, O rebellious house, the Lord said he's going to say the word. Go ahead.
And will perform it, saith the Lord God.
That's why you start seeing it where it seems like time is moving faster. It's like, damn, every time you thinking something just happened last week, it was actually 3 weeks ago, and everything is moving in a fast pace. That's why the Lord said that the time was going to be shortened for the elect's sake in Matthew 24. So the Lord said he's going to say the word, he's going to perform it. Go ahead.
Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come.
Yeah, Israel always, yeah, I hear you. Brother, it ain't happening right now. No, there's no destruction going on in the earth. No, there's no famine. No, there's no drought. No, none of that's happening right now. Because like I said, as long as we're watching TV and Burger King is saying that you can get 20 nuggets for $2. There's no famine. But do you know what's in that damn nugget? Silicone and all kind of stuff. They said, yeah, we can stretch together some stuff to give you some fake food, some Franken food, sure. But in our reality, there's nothing wrong. Nothing's going on right now. You know, people now are getting more confidence. Oh, gas is going down. See, we told you it's not that bad. We're still paying $5, but it was at least not $7. You weren't paying $5 the last 5-10 years, but now we got used to that. Like it's conditioning. Well, now we accept $5.50, $5.30. That's good. What? But where is that good at? Well, at least we ain't paying $7. Listen, man. There's no easy way to take a whipping on the back. You know what I'm saying? There's no good way that you can actually make your oppression sound good. It's all bad. But we get the feeling like, oh, it's okay. You know. No, it's not okay. Continue reading.
Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesieth of the times that are far off.
Oh, so we got plenty of time. You know, leave it to Israel, man. Like we said, we always trying to balance out the time, measure it out, asking around. Hey, bro, how long you think we got? Don't ask me that question. Don't put me in that hole. I'm not even going to try to act like I could tell you. All I can tell you is better prepare and get ready, because it could be today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. Either way, as they say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Go ahead.
Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore.
So the Lord said that time is going to be over with. It's going to be flat dead in your face. And if you just can't see it, then it's not meant for you. You're part of the destruction that's going to be happening. You're just not going to be open to understanding what's happening in front of us. Go ahead.
But the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord God.
Go to Hosea. Hosea chapter 9 and 7. One book over, and or two actually, Daniel and Hosea. And let's read the 7th verse.
Said chapter 9.
Yeah, chapter 9, verse 7.
Book of Hosea, chapter 9, verse 7. The days of visitation are come, the days of recompense are come. Israel shall know it. The prophet is a fool, the spiritual man is mad.
See, all these things is happening, and we go out there, we teach, we telling our people what's going on. Some people are open and hearing, but the majority is saying, you're crazy, you're fools, you're in a cult, what are you talking about? But the Lord said these days is going to happen. These days are going to come, and we're seeing these things happen right before our eyes right now. The scripture say the spiritual man judgeth all things. But what's the world say? The spiritual man is mad. The spiritual man, he's crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you think you deep. No, I'm reading what the Lord said. Go ahead.
For the multitude of thine iniquity and the great hatred.
See, and that's what ends up happening, man. You know, our people's out here getting hated on, especially those of us who's walking in truth, abiding by the commandments. You know, we're getting looked at with great hatred. We're being called fools. We're being called crazy. You can't speak about the LGBTQ HIV community without them saying that you're practicing hate speech. Oh, we need to cancel your channel. Oh, you got to be careful what you say. You know, all this matters. So now we're in a time that where our backs are against the wall, but we're seeing a lot of these particular spirits rise up. 2 Timothy 3. Let's read and just kind of set the tone. We're going to go through a lot in some of these spirits of the end and events of the end. We're going to see happening in this PowerPoint. Start at verse 1.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1.
And just remember the stuff that we read. And as we go through some of these incidents and judgments, and we're going to see it. We're witnessing these things now.
This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come.
When's it going to happen?
In the last days perilous times shall come.
Come on.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy.
So we're going to see a complete shift on the attitude, the civil and the moral nature of people during these last days. Can y'all not see what's going on? You see people out there nowadays, and you just like, what is going on with these people? Lover of their own selves. We could talk about that physically with the acceleration of the LGBTQ, all that other madness, right? But let alone even in the social media realms where people are so caught up in the idolization of themselves. If you got this particular app, reality shows, it's a form of narcissism where Instagram, you have to follow somebody. So it's the moniker because, hey, follow me on this particular app. No, I'd rather follow the Lord. But now digitally, it's no, follow me if you just want to keep up to what I'm talking about. If you want to keep along with what I'm doing, if you want to follow after what I'm, then it becomes, oh, I've got such a following. I've got 100,000, 500,000. Oh, I got the blue check mark. I got 2 million. I'm official. Everybody's saying, oh, now you're a lover of yourself. Covetous. You're seeing people, what do they do on the internet now? Everybody's faking it till they make it. Fake, money phones, this, car, this. I'm vacationing on this boat here. Take a picture of me to where? What? Everybody starts becoming covetous, and then next thing you know, you finding out about, oh, this rapper got killed. This. Why? Because there's envy, jealousy, covetousness in the hood. But you guess what? You're out here boasting about everything that you got. And now you go back into the hood, and then you expect these cats that's in the hood to say, you've been bragging about all this stuff, and you ain't did a thing for us. Guess what? We want that chain, we want that car, and we want that money that you keep showing us on the internet. Go ahead, sis.
It's just like it's all meant to keep us in Israel in confusion, from the truth.
Yeah.
The social media thing, it's insane.
It's
so wicked.
It's a big distraction for sure. It's a big distraction for sure. We always say it's a gift and a curse. You got to use it for the good that it can present. But always know that there's back doors and there's folly in the midst to where it can pull you down and drag you into a realm of darkness and wickedness and the light of the Lord. So, we got to use it for what it's good for. We're using it right now. So we're not going to be a hypocrite, but at the same time, we know the limitations and we know what it can bring. So you got proud blasphemers, Disobedient to parents, unthankful and unholy. Go ahead.
without natural affection.
Without natural affection. I mean, we're seeing incidences in the news of people getting killed over cold French fries, people getting killed over mayonnaise. Uh, heinous crimes is, you know, women getting raped and harassed in broad daylight. People getting shot at 24-hour fitnesses. You know, without natural affection. I mean, between women prostituting their children, sex trafficking them. I mean, all kind of madness is going on. So without natural affection, go ahead.
Truce breakers,
Yeah.
false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good.
See, that's one thing that we got to recognize. Is here we are doing good, trying to build up our nation. What's wrong with us following after what the word of the Lord says? If the Lord says to keep these commandments and we got to do right and build up our communities and instill good moral ethics, civil ethics, a good dietary law based upon what God said to do, what's wrong with that? But meanwhile, you got the minions of the churches running around talking about, don't do that. You're in a cult if you do that. What? But it said we're going to be despised for doing good. You know, I've always made mention of a quote from I think it's George Orwell, where he said that in a world of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. So if we speak the truth, and all of a sudden you get the heat for being truthful, then you know that you're going to be despised for doing what's good. I don't see the Christians being despised. I don't see the church being despised. Nobody's looking at them like they're troublemakers. They're beloved. They're looked at as the safekeepers and the peacemakers of the community. Nobody's after them. Nobody's tripping about them. But Christ said, if the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. So if they're not being hated and they're not being despised for doing good, that means they ain't doing good. They're doing just the opposite. They're going right along with Satan's plan. They're moving right along in the realms of wickedness and evil. So there's qualifications and there's spiritual hedge marks that we should be looking at to find out if we're doing the right thing or not. And the Lord said, if you're doing the right thing, just know there's going to come with some feedback and some backlash. And if you ain't getting that, maybe you ain't doing it right. Read on.
Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
Right. People are going to be putting their own will, their own pleasures above the will of the Most High. You know, they're going to try to find methods and ways to stay doing what they want to do, but still make it sound as if, oh, I'm still with the Lord. I still believe in God, but I got to get this prosperity doctrine going. I got to get this money. I got to get these women. I got to get these men. I got to. Oh, the Lord can wait. I ain't forgot. We got our own relationship. And you saying, what own? No. We all been called to follow the same book. How you got it differently, I don't know what you're talking about, but that ain't it. But you're going to see people replacing the Most High so that they can do their own thing. Continue on.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away.
So it said having a form of godliness, but they deny the Most High. It said keep away from them types, you know. Oh, you know, look what great works the church is doing or whoever is doing. Oh, they got the Thanksgiving drive and they handing out turkeys and they feeding the homeless. What? Yeah, that's cool, but guess what? You shouldn't be doing it in the name of Thanksgiving. You shouldn't be doing it in the name of a pagan, you know, holiday and all of that. So yeah, we're still gonna talk about that. Oh, you Israelites hate everything. We doing good work. You guys don't like. Wait a minute, you're not even doing it good. You still feeding people lies, having them believing in folly because you handing out turkeys. So no, that's not a good work. Oh, it's a form of godliness, but you denying the power thereof. That's just an example. It said from such turn away. Read the verse up.
Verse 6. For of this sort are they which creep into houses, and leave captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts.
Yep, see, and they said them type of spirits they following, and they go to the weaker vessel, and they say, women, you carry out these deeds, spread it from house to house, you know, wreck and consume households, and do all the folly that the spirits will allow. So this sort, they're creeping in the houses, they're leading away captive, silly women laden with sins, women who are not rooted in truth, laden with sins, meaning these women are not following the laws of the Lord. They're not rooted in anything. Because obviously, if sin is a transgression of the law, they're not keeping the law. So there is no hedge mark for them to stand up and a standard to back away them spirits. They're coming in slick and sly to lead away women to get caught up in evil. Go ahead.
ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Right. So you got our people that's out there searching. You know, you got what's the brother from Tariq Nasheed? He's talking about I think he got some movement about the African. What is he talking about? The natural the descendants of Africans or something. He got some movement. He got people following that. Some Pan Africans here, Kemetic here. You got Aztec here. You got uh, Native American spirituality here. I mean, ever learning. There was a brother I seen. Who was it? Ratazan of BLW dealing with last week. This guy used to be an Israelite from back in the Shield of Wisdom days. Now he's in an indigenous, more Kemetic, you know what I'm saying, all over the place. Why people are completely confused on what to follow, and the answer is simple. Go back to the Creator, go back to the creation, find out what He called us, understand our obligation, and how do we serve Him, and it's simple. That's it. We ain't got to keep going around with what man made over here, what man made over here. If you want that, go to religion, because they'll give you a multiple choice. It's like, what's that game on Price is Right? You spin the wheel, and whatever you get, that's your price. You spin the wheel. You can go to Seventh-day Adventist. You can go to Jehovah Wickedness. You can be an Episcopalian, a Baptist, a Catholic. You might as well stay ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth because they're thinking that the Lord is rooted in religion, and He's not. All right, so let's get to some of these PowerPoints. Let me share my screen. I'm seeing the.
It's a good precept to go with Ecclesiastes 12 and 12.
12 and 12.
Yeah, all the books and all that, and
Making many books.
Right.
That's right.
That's right. True.
Yep. Let's go there then. Ecclesiastes 12:12. I might as well finish it up with
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh.
Now, the lazy Jake is gonna say, see, that's why I don't waste all my time studying the Bible like you brothers, man. The Lord said too much study is weariness of the flesh, so I ain't gotta do it. No. It's saying the study is weariness of the flesh when you're pursuing many other books outside of the Bible. You're supposed to study your word. Didn't He say in Joshua 1 and 8 that we're supposed to meditate therein day and night? So He ain't talking about the word of the Lord. He's talking about you reading about the Egyptian book of the dead one minute, and next minute you over here reading about Buddhist philosophy over here. Then you want to read about the Chinese man, what he's doing, and then you read about East Indian, and then you want to go delve into African spirituality. Then you want to go deal with, I'm gonna go research more about DNA. Are you all over the place? And then you sit back wondering why you sweating at your brow and you weary and tired and don't know what the hell to do anymore. Well, that's why you're pursuing many issues of the flesh and not working on the spirit. Read 13 and 14.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
See how the Lord broke it down simple? So you run around checking this book, that book, this book, that. And he said, the bottom line is fear the Most High, keep His commandments. That's all we need to do. Go ahead.
For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Right. So everything's going to be judged. Everything's going to be put on the table, weighed in the balance, and the Lord's going to base upon which way the scales tip, our judgment is going to fall. So we all pray that we find the good works that we do outweigh the evil, and that the Lord finds favor on us. Let's go ahead and set this thing up. So, go ahead.
So said she can't get on.
She can't get on. All right, Shalaki, y'all. Here we go. Let me share my screen. And We'll get started. All right. So, in respect to what's going on with the war, right? So we're seeing here that the headline reads, and this is very interesting. You know, I don't want to be too repetitive about what's going on over there with that civil war between Russia and Ukraine, but for the sake of what do you call it? I guess chronicling what's going on over there. You know, things are still intensifying over there. So we know about the wars, rumors of wars. We know that right now it's a civil war matter, but their links to other nations is what could draw us into being a world war. And I'm gonna show y'all something in a minute. It's hard to even keep up with this because Esau be lying so dang much. You don't know what's true, what's not true. I'm gonna show y'all an example in a second, right? But here they go. They say Russia wipes out an entire Ukrainian fortress town of Pisky using banned thermobaric vacuum bombs. Soldiers gloat as supercharged warheads rain down on apartment blocks. So they're saying that the Russians is attacking the civilians. They're not going after the troops of the Ukrainians. But the thing is this: when the war started, the Ukrainian people was being recruited, so civilians were being recruited. So it's almost disingenuous to act as if they're just bombing apartments and regular people when regular people was being recruited, and the regular people is who they fighting as well. So how are they supposed to say, well, you're off limits and you are? That's just the same thing that was happening with America in Vietnam. You know, a lot of the Vietnamese, they was out there fighting in jungle warfare. They didn't know who to trust, who was on the team, who wasn't. Same with Afghanistan. That's why it took so long for America to realize, like, we're not winning this war. They didn't win Vietnam. They didn't win in Afghanistan. They withdrew because they're constantly fighting people. They don't know who's who. And guerrilla warfare means they getting set up. But we're seeing an escalation now. You know, a lot of the war tactics that Putin was using was more or less strategizing to keep supplies out, cut off the power, certain stuff like that. Now they're actually just saying, forget it. We're trying to preserve the land because that's part of what they want is the land back to be part of Russia. But now they're just saying, you know what the hell with it. We're going to start laying out major bombs in now this particular town, end up feeling the wrath, right? So now we see here, check this out. It says footage emerges of the moment 40 train carriages carrying Russian troops and ammo blow up. So this happened July 29th. And now they're saying, oh, we got footage now, a week and a half later, that shows this ammo carriage being blown up. Now, this is saying that the Ukrainians did it. So it says here, incredible footage has emerged, appearing to show the moment a 40 carriage train carrying Russian troops and vital ammunition was blown up by Ukrainian forces in the latest blow to Vladimir Putin. So they are crediting the Ukrainians for making this happen, right? But look at this. In the same breath, another art, and this all depends on who you are utilizing for your sources. Now look at it. It says Russia accidentally blows up its own supply train. Soldiers are scattered in panic. So who did it? Did the Ukrainians do it, as they say here, or the Ukrainian forces in the latest blow to Vladimir Putin? Or did Russia accidentally blow up their own thing? This is why, you know, the white man's the devil, man. You can't try. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know what's going on. So the only thing we do know is that there is a war going on. Who's winning? Who's got the greater propaganda to sway the minds of the people is really what it all boils down to. So in one instance, they saying the Ukrainians did it, and that's for the pro-Ukrainians and people that want to stand behind it, which they want NATO and other countries and America to say, oh, the Ukrainians are winning. And then anybody else on the outside is saying, well, actually, they said that there was a fire that broke out on the train, and it actually was an accident, and the Russians did it themselves, or not sabotage themselves, but it was an accident. Who knows? You know, this is what happens when you're dealing with a dang 4-ton white man. Go to Proverbs. Proverbs 26:25. One of my favorite scriptures because it's so indicative of how he operates, and we just can't trust some of the things that he says. We don't know. 26. Let's read that. 25.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart.
See, the propaganda and the way the so-called white man works is he may tell the truth one time, but if he tells the truth once, know that he's going to cover it up with a complete cover-up. You know, 7 abominations, 7 is the number of completion. So they're saying he's going to cover up completely that one truth that he said. This almost pains him to tell the truth, to be honest, to be righteous, to be just. It's like, and when he's forced to do that, he's like, I got to do 7 more wicked things to cover up for that one time that I actually told the truth. So we don't know what happened here. One minute they saying it was the Russians. One minute they saying it was the Ukrainians. Let me close that scroll out. Okay. Let's move on to this next one. All right. So here we go again. And let's jump over to the Apocryphal. 2nd Ezra 16. And I think maybe the next time I teach, I'm going to get the history with Moab and Ammon and identifying them according to the scriptures. Because we always say, oh, you know, Moab's a Chinese, Ammon's a Japanese. Well, we'll prove it through the scriptures next time I teach. Most I wouldn't. Because they're coming up a lot in prophecy and judgment now. We're seeing China, we're seeing Taiwan, we're seeing North Korea, South Korea. What role do they play in these times right now? So 2nd Ezra 16, you can just read the first. Actually, you know what? Go to 15. Let's read 15 and let's drop down to read verse 46 down to 49, and then we'll jump over to chapter 16.
2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 46. And thou, Asia, thou that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
So it's saying that Asia is going to be partaking in the hope of Babylon, meaning they're going to try to emulate Babylon. You know, America's been out here ruling and doing their thing. So who do we hear is next trying to say that we're next in line? We're going to be the ones to take over. China's saying we want to be like Babylon. We're going to be the next leading world power. We're making our alliances so that we can go ahead and be the next one. So now the Lord is acknowledging judgment is going to happen to them just for trying to be like they white zaddy. Go ahead.
Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
You see that? They're following after the footsteps. And they actually are slaves to America. All the technology that they do, all of the social experimentation that they do with their people is all for the white man and all for America and all for NATO so that they can sit back and say, well, how are we going to implement world domination and control? If we look at China, China is one of the most controlled populations in the world. I think they got over 1 billion population and they got their people under lock and key. They just had, what was it, Shalak? 80,000? 80,000 tourists. You know what? See, no, I got to go there. 80,000 tourists are stuck over in China on lockdown because of the outbreak. Let's put it that way. Yes, it is. You know the word. I ain't gonna say it. That Divock. Vladi. See that China, the Divock lockdown strands 80,000 tourists in China's Hawaii. So they've got a little tourist area that they kind of built up like their own little tourist Hawaii area or whatnot. But they got 80,000 people over there locked down. This is just as of August 7th. So this is last weekend's article. To my knowledge, they ain't let them go yet because they had a new outbreak of that thing. You know, they got that old thing back. What song was that?
Yeah.
They want that old thing back. The old thing is back over there, and 80,000 people. So they become like the test subjects on how you're going to do that to the rest of the world. So when you start seeing China doing this type of stuff, best believe Esau's taking notes saying, good, it works. It is effective. Okay, they were able to, have them people subdued. They seized all them people's bank accounts and put tanks out in front of the banks and told them that your savings is now investments for the good of China. How you gonna do that? Absolutely. You didn't know that? Let me show you. Absolutely. You seen that? Yeah. They see everybody's bank accounts that was banking with the biggest banks in China and said that their money now is investments for the state. And they lost all their money. And people are protesting saying we want our money, and they said no, you ain't getting your money back. Tiananmen Square again. Tanks roll on China streets to protect banks amid protest. Army tanks rolled on the streets of China's Henan province to deter protesters who've been demanding the release of their savings after banks put a freeze on withdrawals. So this is how China responds. So imagine when Esau says, you know what, okay, send the tanks to Citibank and Wells Fargo and everything else, because all their assets now, we can't produce them. You know, all of our money is just basically digitized. I push a button, it can be gone. And they don't have that money in the bank. Every night, overnight, they exchanging monies. They sending money to this bank, and so that they can make sure they're good on their loans. They sending money over here to make sure that they can get their real estate investments covered. That's why sometimes when you deposit a check and it may be of a certain amount and they say only so much is available right now, we'll give you the rest in 2 days or whatever. You say, hold on, give me all my damn money. No, we can't do that right now because we got to balance the books overnight. It's going to take us a couple of days to pull from over here to make sure we can send you your money. And it all works out in the end, but it's inconveniencing for us because we like, no, this is all our money. Where's my money at? So this is what happened over there in China. They doing the same thing. They locking them down. They taking their money. They putting tanks out there saying do something. And that's how we're seeing America is looking at the blueprint and saying China, oh, because you want to fall in the footsteps of America, they're gonna get judged too. But go back to second English.
Verse 47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers.
So they're playing the harlot with everybody. So you see China's over here in the bed with Brazil, they in bed with Russia, Iran, they in the bed with everybody. So they're out here trying to whore themselves out, same way America has. America is known as the great whore that has spread its legs to every nation, and they're all drinking the wine of the fornication. They're all part of they're trying to do the same thing. You know, they're trying to open up economic doors and with different international parties. They over here, they just bought, I forgot, so many thousands of acres of land here. So they still got their hand over here. They still over here dealing with I forgot what's coming. I think it was Venezuela. You know, so they're over here trying to negotiate and supply Venezuela with money and resources in different Central American countries. So, you know, they are out there living like in their whoredom. Go ahead.
And hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Mm-hmm. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, saith God.
So they followed who's hated in all her works and inventions. Well, who else did the Most High say that he hates? He said, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Now he's saying, you following after these people, all their works and inventions. Therefore, saith the Most High. Go ahead.
I will send plagues upon thee.
Why do you think they keep having all of these reoccurring cases? They keep saying we got locked down again. Oh, we thought we had it finished. We thought we were over it. Nope. Next thing you know, they just had another outbreak. I forgot what they call it. But they said it's coming from some animal too. But you know, they're constantly over there getting hit of recent now. Go ahead.
Widowhood.
Yeah, I covered it in the last episode, I think, but it was some new little plague that they got going on, and they were saying, oh, it's not as bad as the debug, but you know, beware. Go ahead.
Widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence.
See, they're going to get all of those things. Look at it, July 19th. Bubonic plague in China. What's the name of that new thing they just had? They didn't get it from.
You know, somebody they spreading this stuff. So why the monkeypox is not over there? Why
It started over there.
It started,
over there,
but
but
the show ain't saying nothing about it.
But of course not, because it ain't for them. They got their people on lockdown. But we need over here. They need a new threat to say, well, you won't listen to reason. So here, this is why it's spreading over here like wildfire. I can't find what that other one was, but they got something else. But so they've been getting hit with plague. It said widowhood, poverty, famine. So here's the poverty. You see the people out there protesting, wanting their money. Famine and sword, pestilence, the waste of houses with destruction and death. Jump over to chapter 16 and read verse 1.
Verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia.
And who?
Babylon and Asia.
So America and Asia, you know, the countries that's within these continents is what?
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Mm-hmm. So the Middle East and Africa all gonna face judgment. Read.
Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
So the Lord is saying that regardless of what they got going on right now, they are going to be destroyed. There is going to be mourning and there's going to be weeping. Lamentation is going to be happening. This is why we're seeing here Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He's constantly trying to make sure that he's not forgotten. You know, we constantly hear about China, Taiwan. We constantly hearing about Russia and Ukraine. He's always looking for attention. So he's like, don't forget about me. I got nukes too. Oh, don't forget about me. I can make threats too. So he's out here making direct threats because he wants to be involved. He wants to be part of this judgment. Well, he's part of the Asian community. So he's going to have to deal with the judgment. He's going to go in there and make sure that he's not forgotten. So Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea, says, claims military is prepared to use nukes against the U.S. as World War III fears intensify. And we scratching our head saying, well, where did this come from? Like, why are you making threats to the U.S.? Well, you know, Nancy Pelosi, she went over there and was chopping it up with South Korea. South Korea and North Korea don't get along. South Korea is an ally of the U.S. So he's taking it as a threat that you coming over here and building with our enemies. We already don't like you, so let's just make a threat right now. He's usually making them threats. We don't know if he's ever prepared to use them or go through it. You know, when he was dealing with Trump, I think Trump was calling him little bomb man and put him in little rocket man, put him in check, and he was quiet for them 4 years. But because, you know, Trump was probably crazy enough to push the panic button and be like, you know what, you want to go to war? F it. And they said, no, we're not doing that. So we'll be quiet. But with Slow Biden in there, they know he's a punk. So they like, we're going to go ahead and just keep on threatening and doing everything. I wanted to show y'all that video. Did y'all see that video? He was, it's a little off track. He was out speaking publicly. It was him, Kamala, I think Pelosi, and somebody else. And the dude that was speaking, he shook Biden's hand, he shook everybody's hand. And then when he came back, Biden's out there trying to shake his hand again. The guy's like, man, we already shook. He's sitting there holding his hand like, I said, this dude can't even remember that he just shook somebody's hand 30 seconds ago. And he still sit back saying, well, I got the codes to the nukes and I know what I'm doing. This place is in trouble. If this boob, if he stays in office, you know, it's over with. But anyway, so Kim Jong-un, so it says World War fears intensify. The dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, has threatened Western powers, South Korea, with nuclear arms, claiming that his military is prepared for further action in a chilling speech. Jump back over to Second Ezra and 15, and let's read 40 and 41.
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place, and on a horrible star.
Well, when you read down like verse 34, 35, these clouds they're not the chariots of the Lord. They're talking about like fighter jets. Because the drop down, we're gonna read that. Read 34, 35.
Verse 34. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. they shall smite one upon another.
See that? So they're talking about actual aerial warfare that's going to be happening when times of war come upon us. That's why I said it's going to be coming from the east and from the north and from the south. All of these geographical locations where Armageddon is going to take place, they are going to be going. So we know that the clouds are known as chariots. Instruments are flying in the air. So they said they're going to be fighting one another. So obviously that's not the chariots of the Most High. Why would they be fighting each other? Right? Go ahead.
They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of the stars upon the earth,
The stars are the bombs. Go ahead.
even their own star. And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly,
Mm-hmm.
and dung of men unto the camel's hoof, or hoof, hoof. Sorry, you said that? I don't know.
Hoof.
Hoof. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them.
So people are going to be witnessing, seeing this war going on. They're going to see a lot of destruction happening. Read.
And then there come great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west.
Mm-hmm. So the West is going to get involved. Go ahead.
And strong wind shall rise from the east, and shall open it. And the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the stars stirred up, caused fear toward the east and west wind, shall be destroyed.
So, they're going to start pulling out the nukes and the bombs and everything else, right? How do we know that? Keep reading.
The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out every high and eminent place and horrible star.
So, you got Russia's got their Satan 2 bomb, they nuke bombs. America got their nukes. Now he's talking about his nukes. Iran is talking about they want to make nukes. Pakistan got nukes. Who else got nukes? Great Britain, Israel got nukes. So these are them that great horrible star that could destroy the earth. Go ahead.
Fire and hail and flying swords.
See, flying swords. Those are the missiles. Go ahead.
And many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers, with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn.
See, didn't we just get to reading that headline where it said that the whole city was wiped out? So it says cities, walls, mountains, hills is going to be taken out. So these are all just preludes, and that's why we read earlier where we're talking about the vision is not prolonged, and we're going to, be waiting. The Lord said you're going to be seeing these things, but if you're not paying attention, if you're just saying, oh, that's over there in China, oh, that's over there in the Ukraine, that ain't us, that ain't happening, you're missing the boat. Because the Lord said this is going to be happening in the east, the west, the north. All these other nations are going to be going through particular tribulation, building up towards final confrontation of World War III. All right, let's move on. Now check this out. So the world is on the brink of a nuclear catastrophe. This is coming out of Moscow. Now, they're saying that this isn't even just based upon actual warfare or destruction, right? They're acknowledging that the Ukrainians are bombing a place that has a nuclear power plant. So if they keep recklessly shooting and bombing and trying to hit this place, it's going to cause nuclear fallout. We ain't going to need no bombs to hit nowhere. You're going to end up having issues with nuclear fallout. Let me show y'all about that real quick. A lot of this is a lot of dang scientific talk. I'm just trying to get to something that can help us understand the effects of. Okay. Let's look at the effects on the environment. In the event of a large-scale nuclear exchange, the effects would be drastic on the environment as well as directly to the human population. Within direct blast zones, everything will be vaporized and destroyed. Cities damaged but not completely destroyed will lose their water system due to the loss of power and supply lines rupturing. Within the local nuclear fallout pattern, suburban areas' water supplies will become extremely contaminated. At this point, stored water would be the only safe water to use. All surface water within the fallout would be contaminated by falling fission products. Within the first few months of the nuclear exchange, the nuclear fallout will continue to develop in a detriment to the environment. Dust, smoke, and radioactive particles will fall hundreds of kilometers downwind of the explosion point and pollute surface water supplies. Iodine 131 will be the dominant fission product within the first few months, and in months following the dominant fission would be strontium 90. The fission products will remain in the fallout dust, resulting in rivers, lakes, sediments, soils being contaminated with the fallout. So they're basically saying once that nuclear ash hits, it gets to blowing. If it gets to the water, if it gets to the surface area with the soils, it's all contaminated. It's all jacked up. So the food supply, water supply, all that's gonna be jacked up, and it takes a long time for it to be purged out and clean, or it's just gonna be considered a wasteland, and you can't inhabit them areas no more. People gonna have to move or get up out of there if they survive the initial blast. So this is what they're saying over in this article, where it says the world is on the brink of nuclear catastrophe. Do y'all remember the earthquake in Japan? And they had the nuclear reactors that melted down, and then the nuclear waste was getting into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it took a long time for that to actually purge out. A lot of them, the sailors that was on the boat, the U.S. I forgot. I don't want to say it's the U.S. Ronald Reagan, but there was a naval ship that was off the coast. A lot of them guys got cancer now from even being close to going over there or trying to help. Even when it was down to like 9/11, when that happened, and all that asbestos and all that stuff was in them buildings, and everybody's running in there and praising the hero. A lot of them people is dead now, and a lot of people got cancer because they run into them places where the contamination dealing with the asbestos got into their lungs and they all jacked up. So that was just from them being in the environment. So imagine. So what they were saying was when that earthquake happened in Japan, them nuclear reactors melting down, the wind's blowing, so it's blowing over this way. They was talking about there was a lot of contaminated fish, high levels of mercury was on them. They was finding them all jacked up in Alaska and the west coast of Washington and Oregon, coming from that area, and it's taking years for that to actually get right. So this is why it's so dangerous, is because they're saying that the Ukrainians is over here bombing their reactor that could actually cause real bad news for Europe and the West if they do some more damage and hit something. So it says Kyiv's reckless actions are pushing the world even closer to a major nuclear disaster. Russia's ambassador to the UN, Vasily Nebenzia, told the body's Security Council on Thursday the Zaporizhzhia power plant in the southern Ukraine has been under control of the Russian forces since February and has since been shelled by Kyiv's troops on several occasions. We've repeatedly warned our Western colleagues that should they fail to talk sense into the Kyiv regime, it would take the most heinous and reckless steps which would have consequences far beyond Ukraine. Nebenzia warned at a meeting focused on the issue. That is exactly what is happening, he said, adding that the Western sponsors of Kyiv would have to bear the responsibility for potential nuclear catastrophe. So they're basically blaming NATO and the U.S. for not stepping in, saying, "Watch what you're doing. You're going to actually cause more damage than good." So we're seeing a lot of different issues and problems that's happening over there that could impact everybody. Y'all know they raided Trump, but now there's more headlines I've seen of them talking about the potential for civil war. And these Edomites will be willing to die for Trump, man. It's crazy. They really think he's their white savior. This dude right here, after they raided Trump, the FBI, he strapped up and went to the FBI offices looking to start some study. And they went and put his butt to death. So you see, gunman killed after attacking Ohio FBI officer, served a nuclear submarine with top-level security clearance. Bureau was alerted to him earlier this year. So they already had, knowledge about him and what he's up to. Let's show you, man. He saw watching every damn thing. And some stuff they letting go. Some stuff they allowing. Some stuff they're going to stop before it gets too bad. But he reacted because they went and raided his white savior and said, well, I'm going to go to war with the FBI. A lone wolf, he wound up getting put to death. But it just shows you the desperation of where these Edomites is at. Don't they ready for Trump to be the next? They want him to run again in 2024. They want him to rise from the ashes. But we see that the Democrats and all, they trying everything they can to stop that, stop that. We don't want. If he comes up or they look like they did him dirty, these Edomites gonna go crazy. Don't let them kill him. If they kill Trump, they gonna lose their mind. And that's when we're really gonna see issues here in the States where we all gonna have to be on point in dealing with these maniac right wing Edomites. Interestingly enough, America becomes the world's first nation to record 10. See, that's why I said all about it. It starts in China. Oh no, what they say? Oh, it's Africa first. Always the dirty little Africans. You know, they always got something going on. Now they want to say, oh, well, the Chinese. But guess where it always ends up surfacing? America. So America's gonna have to get hit. Jump over there and say in 2 Ezra 15. And start at 10, read down to 12.
2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
So modern day Egypt, America is going to get stricken with plagues just as it was before. So we're constantly going to see elevated numbers of what's going on with these plagues, diseases, all this stuff is going to be happening. But the chosen and the elect is going to be delivered from all of this madness. But this is why we're seeing these type of numbers elevating, whether they're real or fake, whether they're cooking the books for fear, who knows? But I'm tending to believe, based upon what the Lord said, America's going to get hit with these particular plagues, and it's only going to get worse. So obviously the target area, the target of the Lord actually hit right on target. It started off in these other little countries. Next thing you know, America can't handle it. It is as much medicine and advanced technology and biology and scientists that they got. You would swear America is like some third world country that they don't know what to do, and how to handle these particular things. These smaller areas from China and Africa and got it under wraps, and it's over with. You don't hear it no more. Or in Europe, it ain't that big. Over here, it's out of control. Maybe because this is, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah too. And that's why all the damn sodomites acting up. But so America becomes the world's first nation to record 10,000 monkeypox cases as FDA scrambles to split nut now doses between 5 people to keep up with the surge in demand despite little evidence supporting it. So they're running short on their medicine, and they're saying people need to split dosage to stay in safety. Now, I don't remember if y'all seen the episode I did on Don't Shoot the Messenger a couple of weeks back, and I said they're going to use this like they did with AIDS. And I looked up, I said, well, the early statistics, it's a homosexual disease and all of that. Next thing you know, the real target is Jake. Now we're seeing the same thing. Oh, monkeypox. It's sodomites. The homosexual, they all getting it. But now they're saying early data shows monkeypox disproportionately is affecting black men. So again, we see the target is to get at Jake. And they'll sacrifice some sodomites. I mean, that's their casualties of war. And in their mind, is it really a loss that you got rid of some, some members of the HIV community, the whatever they call it, LGBTQ plus HIV and everything else that comes along with the kitchen sink. Now we see really where some of the data is showing that it's imposed for them to try to get at us. Monkeypox in Georgia is infecting an overwhelming number of black people compared to other races. What I do say that Georgia is like the new San Francisco. No disrespect to my people out there in Georgia that's on the straight and narrow and following this truth, but hey, there's no denying that Atlanta, in particular, is a new home for the sodomites. I don't know what they're doing down there, but between them and San Francisco, man, the rest haven is wide open. So it says it's overwhelming a number of black people compared to other races. A disproportionate effect, not anticipated just a few weeks ago. So in a matter of weeks, they're seeing increased cases amongst blacks. New data from the Georgia Department of Public Health showed Dr. Jonathan Colasanti, an infectious disease specialist, says it's important people know the virus is most heavily affecting communities of color, and that those already infected have access to testing, treatment, and vaccines. So as much as they're showing, the TikTokers with the Edomite, sodomites, and all of that, and they acting like, oh, I'm getting hit on the low, Israel's getting hit, and Jakes don't even know. They thinking, oh, it's a rash, or you need to put some Vaseline on, or who knows what. Little they know they got the pox, Yeah. Oh, it's just eczema. That's your eczema acting up. Oh, you got a little rash. It'll be all right. Go outside and play. No, we're not doing that. But let alone, all them damn sodomites is probably, causing a lot of this madness too. So a few weeks ago, when this was circulating in Europe, this wasn't even talked about in our communities of color. And I think there was an initial perception that this was in largely white communities and white, gay, and MSM. Who knew that was something? Men having sex with men communities. They got so many acronyms, man. It's ridiculous. So, in other words, they're saying, again, oh, just like HIV, oh, it's a white disease, oh, it's amongst homosexuals, don't worry about it. And next thing you know, it's blowing up in our communities and ruining relationships, ruining marriages, the nation itself, our community gatherings, and things of that nature, So, what better way to separate and destroy a nation by saying, stay away, don't touch? Well, they did that with the DVOT. 6 feet, no gathering, stay away. So now that that's been kind of derailed, the next thing is, well, we got to have a new thing. So now we're seeing the truth is coming up, and you notice here, what does it say? Colasanti, who was also the medical director of Grady Memorial Hospital's Ponce de Leon Center, a comprehensive program dedicated to serving those living with or affected by HIV. So you see the comparison, which I made a few weeks ago, is they're trying to treat this in the same fashion. Hey, good news. The CDC has dropped their quarantine recommendation after the vid exposure. They finally, 2.5 years later, you can finally stop quarantining. It's okay. We got it under control. Well, if you remember, they said that 80% of the people at least got one dose of their medicine, and another, I forgot what the percentage was, they got everything. So mission accomplished. We got enough people jabbed up. So now you don't have to worry about locking down and quarantine, which ain't even real, because I just seen some football player just tested positive and they quarantined him for 5 days. Slow Biden. Then he just got back-to-back hit upside the head, and they told him stay in the house. But what are they saying? Are they saying we're not supposed to do it, or are we going to do it? So who knows what type of folly they're putting out there. But nonetheless, they're trying to instill in the people some more confidence, because, again, it's an election year. They want everybody to be back on the team. Have some faith in your country. Have some faith in the leadership, and we'll make everything great. But as soon as the M-Pox break out, you get locked back down again. That's out of here. So federal health officials scaled back guidance for quarantine and testing the screen for the DVOT-91 in settings including schools, a relaxation of pandemic precautions that reflects higher protection from jabs and treatments and prior infections. So they're trying to instill faith in the people, but don't fall for it. When they speak of fair, you know what time it is. Because look at this. This is why you say, mission is accomplished. 108 FIFA registered players and over 400 athletes are dead in 6 months. Yep. FIFA is the soccer players. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you know how they play.
Right.
But we've all seen the videos of the players out there running on the field and they collapsing and falling out and holding their chest. What changed? Have we seen that in any years prior before we had this issue? Was soccer players and athletes dropping dead and falling out, grabbing their chest and having to be hospitalized and doing all this? The one thing that we can point to that says that may have changed is them telling them that you can't play or continue your career unless you follow protocol and roll up your sleeve.
What is FIFM?
Mm. I forgot the acronym, but it's a soccer league. It's for professional soccer players. Yeah, it's soccer players. But I mean, we see the numbers and we see what's going on. And I looked at this, and of course, Esau got the fact checkers out. They said, yeah, this may happen, but there's no proof that it was because of this thing. Right. But do we have any record of this happening ever before? Can we say, oh, well, yeah, you're right, because in times past we've seen this happen before, so it was because of this, that, and the third. No, the only thing we seen change was what went into their bodies. Mandated, or else you can't play and you can't make your money. So when you see this, yeah, no wonder you can drop, your recommendations in the corner. The mission is accomplished. You've done its job, and they're moving on to the next thing. So make of that what you will. I won't, expound on it too much more because I got to be careful. But look at this. Biden approval rises to 40%, highest in 2 months. Then I say, out of nowhere, they're gonna somehow. What I tell you when you came in, remember I was just covering the article. You was watching me. He said it's the lowest ever. And look, 2 weeks later, it's up. It's highest ever. And then you wonder, did he steal the vote? How did he get in?
What did he do in order for it to get?
That's what I'm asking y'all. Did he do anything? Has Slow Biden done anything in the last 2 months that make you think like, oh, he's turning things? He's actually doing good. Or, not that we would vote for him, but has anything been put out there that make it seem like somebody? I mean, what has he done in 2 months? All of a sudden, he's up at his highest in 2 months, but it's the elections. He's out here playing games, and you know how they do. They manipulate the numbers. They cook the books.
Absolutely.
They put out these false narratives and these headlines and make it seem like he's really young. Because see down here it says, but the recent upward turn in Biden's approval rating include gains of each of the last 3 weeks could temper the concern among his Democrats that the party is poised to take a drubbing in November 8th midterm elections when Republicans hope to seize control of the U.S. Congress. So we know what this is about. I mean, you just seen the dude, man. He couldn't even shake somebody's hand and remember, but all of a sudden he's the best. I mean, good Lord, man. You see Esau playing these games. But this is what he's doing though. Look, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy tears into Biden for making it easier for migrants to get to the U.S. with ID cards during the worst border crisis in history that has seen almost 1 million cross undetected in a year. So, the little trinkets, the little favoritism, the little things that he's showing to try to gain the Latino vote. I got to, if I can get their cousins and friends in and give them a little ID card, they're going to exchange that in for votes. And who knows if these ID cards, if they can use them to vote, they may be able to register them temporarily to get some votes in. Right. So the Republicans is mad. They say, man, you out here playing games, Slow Biden. You out here, give me that in Ecclesiastes 7. Ecclesiastes 7, and then we're going to get Sirach 13. 7 is 7 and 7 or 7 and 10. I think it's a oppressor make a wise man mad. Sure, the oppressor. I think it's 7 and 7.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Right. So when we deal with oppression, obviously we'll become angered, incensed, because we're seeing the type of conditions that we're living in. Read on.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And when the so-called white man sees that the people start getting riled up and we start getting turned up, and they like, okay, give them a gift to calm them down. The niggas in the speaks is wilding out. Give them, stimulus. Give them reparation. Tell them we're thinking about reparations. As long as they think we're considering giving them something back, they'll calm down. Oh, tell them I'm thinking about wiping away student loans. I'm not going to do it, but just tell them I'm thinking about it. They'll calm down. They'll be quiet. Tell them employment rates is up. We're going to increase minimum wage from $10 to $15. It's going to take 10 years, but don't remember we talked about that, and we talking about that. Remember they passed a bill to increase unemployment. I mean, not unemployment, minimum wage, and it was like, oh, it's going to kick in by 2018. I was like, by that time, the cost of living is not going. You're going to be still seeming like you're making $10 an hour, which is exactly what it is now. Under Obama, it was Obama. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure, man, everybody working at McDonald's is paid a fair wage. But it's gonna happen after I'm out of office. So they said as soon as we want to give a gift, it destroys our heart, and that's what happens. Our people end up buying into the hype, buying into the fact of thinking like, oh, he does care about us. He will actually make right on his promises. Well, the Lord said, don't trust him. Sirach 13. Let's go over there. Sirach 13, and let's read verse 4.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 4. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee.
If there's anything he can drain up out of us, if he needs our votes, he needs our support, he needs anything from us, he needs us to protect us. He's going to use us. Go ahead.
But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee.
But if we're of no use to him, you forget about it. We'll just be left out there in the cold. Only time he's going to do something is when he needs something. So when we see stuff like this, the government eyes plan to give IDs to unauthorized immigrants, it's only because he needs them votes. Only because he's trying to gain favor. It's not because he loves the Guatemalans and the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans and the Haitians. And please, if that was the case, we seen what they did to the Haitians last year, with them cats riding on the damn horses and whipping the horses and whipping the man, chasing them around and kicking them up out of there. If they really cared about the people, if they really cared about the immigrants, they wouldn't have been pushing them to the back of the line and pushing up the Ukrainians when they was over there trying to flee the war. So it ain't because they love the so-called Hispanics in the Northern Kingdom. It's all because he needs you. All right. So this is what they're talking about: giving IDs. And look what it says. The Biden administration plans to test providing temporary ID cards to unauthorized immigrants awaiting a final decision on their cases, according to two government sources familiar with the planning. Why it matters: recent border crossers and other unauthorized immigrants in the U.S. often do not have IDs, making it more difficult to access housing, healthcare, transportation, and other benefits. So what's the other benefit? That's what I'm saying. Will these IDs give them temporary citizenship so they can vote? Who knows? But if it can get them access to housing, healthcare, transportation, and other benefits, you might as well say you a citizen. Why wouldn't you be able to temporarily vote and then go ahead and take them votes in and say, listen, part of the stipulations of us giving you, do you understand English? Translate this for me. They gonna tell them. And yes, and you are going to have to vote blue in November. Do you understand? Yeah. Yeah. You're going to go vote. We're going to make sure that we have somebody take you. We're going to pick you up in buses and you're going to take you to the schools. You vote blue. Yes. And you're going to make sure, because we care about you. We love you. We're going to be the ones that take care of you and your family. We're going to make sure you stay here forever. And then as soon as it's over with, that was a temporary ID. Now you can get your ass back. go back to Mexico. Go back to Guatemala. Go back to El Salvador. Thank you. Your services are no longer needed. You know. And they want some more free labor. They trying to get people over here so they can get on them work visas to slave out for Egypt as usual. Hard bondage, Exodus 1, right? That's what they up to. Okay, let's move on. Now look at it, dealing with the sodomites, man. And this is just another example to show you how it is a concerted effort on how and why they're trying to put and push this trans movement, and it's protected under these laws. It's protected under these groups that's being funded by Esau. Now they're even acknowledging that pediatricians and doctors are even in on this thing. Damning leak files expose how pediatricians accuse their own professional body of pushing a harmful drugs-first approach on trans teens and deliberately blocking moves to change the rules. So you got, even in the medical field, pediatricians and all that are subscribing and prescribing harmful uh, drugs that deal with blocking testosterone and all that other stuff, and hormone blockers on young kids. That's why they keep moving back to age. Or you can start getting in, you're transitioning and giving your pills 13, 12, 9 to cut off their the puberty block, and instead it's damaging these people. This person right here uh transitioned to a boy. Now she's regretting it because she had health problems and all kind of stuff, and now she's back being a female, and she's like an activist now, and they're saying like she got baited in. So all the schools now, they all got counselors, psychologists on deck. My day, they didn't have none of that. You had a guidance counselor, but you ain't had no damn psychologist sitting there, and all they're telling the kids is, "Oh, so you're not happy with your body, huh? Maybe you might be trans, Not saying, oh, I'm not happy because, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I feel like I'm overweight. You bulimic, you dealing with body issues. They're going to say, oh, that's really, actually, it's a sexual issue. It's not, forget about all of that body dysmorphia. You really might be just trans. Maybe you're a boy. And they sit back and say, really? And the friends that they've already been counseling them, the friends, they told me the same thing. I think maybe we should kind of. Next, all these kids is out here turned out in the mind. They thinking the mental problem that I don't like about my body is me. Oh, the reason why I grew up with a time I love sports and all that. Oh, it's not because you had 5 brothers and they treated you like you was one of them. And here they sitting up here actually saying, no, really, you probably want to try this. And now they convincing the parents, and the parents now are too scared to say no for fear that, oh, the school's going to come down on me. Oh, this came from a professional psychologist who knows my child better than me because they had a couple counsel sessions and they've got a degree that says, I know the minds of people. I'm going to take their advice. And now we're all liberals, so why not? Throw them on the pills, throw them on the drugs.
Sometimes, actually, I don't even think in some areas you even have to tell the parent.
That's true.
That's even with the pronouns too. So like a parent calls like, okay, my child did this, whatever, he or she.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, oh, that's not their pronouns. Like the person that they were talking to on the phone will be like, oh, their pronouns are whatever.
Yeah.
They, them, whatever.
That's right.
And
They absolutely do have non-consent things where you don't even have to tell the parents. That you've been sitting there talking with some damn child psychologists at the school for the last 6 months, and they telling you, you got to go ahead and start getting on treatments and all of that. They ain't got to tell the parents in some places.
That's legal.
In some states, it is. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. Well, what you said, it doesn't make sense, but we're in Babylon. Babylon is the land of confusion, so a lot of things is not going to make sense.
You need to take them to live with you. You need to take them home with you.
Yeah. She look and say, in the leaked documents where pediatricians across America say powerful cocktails of puberty blockers and hormones do great harm to youngsters, that the AAP promotes unsafe and unsustainable policies based on scant and shoddy evidence. Fast-tracking adolescents into powerful drug cocktails takes a huge toll on young bodies and can lead to sterility and osteoporosis. The critics say last month, California teenager Chloe Cole Picture told a medical panel how she was encouraged as a 13-year-old to take puberty blockers and later have surgery that irreversibly and painfully damaged her body as she transitioned to Leo, a boy. Likewise, Aaliyah Ishmael, 27 from Michigan, was told of how she underwent a medical transition involving hormones and a double mastectomy to become Issa, but then switched back as she was unhappy with the new identity. And this happens all the time. There's a gang of them out there all having regrets because they get seduced early, and next thing you know, they're on drugs. Their whole body has been changed, and now they can't do nothing about it. They don't have surgery. They're all jacked up now. But it shows you that there is a real conspiracy about them pushing this particular agenda, and they're preying on the children early to get this accomplished.
Well,
Look-
why are you doing that though? I don't understand.
Why?
I don't
It's
understand.
an evil and wicked world.
I mean, it. You know that the whole saying, "Why ask why?" When you see,
I know
No.
with our people, they try to stop it so we can't, have children.
right?
But
Well, let's go to
I seen
Revelation.
this video too. This lady went through that same transition, and she's talking about how once they do all that transition and all that stuff, their
Mhm.
life expectancy shrinks
Sure.
tremendously too. Yeah, so that's why a lot of them don't live that long.
Mhm.
So that's also, population control and different stuff that Esau wants to, have authority over.
That makes sense. It's a lot of wickedness.
Yeah.
Hit that in Revelation 11 and 8, and then we're gonna go to Deuteronomy. Revelation 11 and 8, and then Deuteronomy.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 8.
Mhm.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
So the dead bodies of the saints are going to be lying in a city that spiritually embodies Egypt, and what else?
Sodom and Egypt.
Sodom and Egypt. So there's going to be a great city. Hold on, give me Revelation 14. 14, I think I want verse 14 and 6. 14 and 8.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city which she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
You see that? So the scripture said that the great city is Babylon, right? So this place has embodied 3 places, 2 of which we were in bondage to. The third was a place that the Lord told us to flee from, or told Lot and Abraham to flee from because it was going to be destroyed. So America figures, I'm going to take on the spirit of all of them. All of some of the worst places we've ever experienced, they're going to embody it all. Jump back over 11 and 8.
And their dead, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
So the dead bodies of the saints have lied in the streets of Babylon in these great cities. Not only do we see from the George Floyds to the Michael Browns to Corinne Gaines, Sandra Bland's, but we get all of the great revolutionaries from our era, all of the Native American blood, all of the Central American blood. Our people have been lying dead in this city for hundreds of years, right? Now it says, and our Lord get crucified here because he get put to an open shame and crucifixion through religion, through the doctrines of Christianity, where they're putting up false images of him, when they're putting out false messages about what his mission was and who he came to save, so forth and so on. Through the media, they're putting out false images of him, false storylines, lies. So another crucifixion and another death he's suffering because of the promotion of how they put out the information regarding our Savior. Jump over to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 20. 21. 1 second. 30. I think it's 30. Shoot. Yeah, 32. And I want to read. Let's get right to the point. Let's read 32 and 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 32. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of Gal, and their clusters are bitter.
So this is talking about the pride of all of the captivities that we've been under, mainly the so-called white man. Now it says his vine, he's rooted in what? Sodom and the fields of Gomorrah. So he has no problem. If you look at historically how the Greeks handled themselves, how the Romans handled themselves, when you look at the French under Napoleon, Esau's got no, and you look at even in Europe, they're sexually liberated over there. You do what you want over there. So they're rooted in a lot of, from pornography. Everything comes from the so-called white man. Vine of Sodom, fields of Gomorrah. He's got no problems with allowing a 12-year-old to start changing his sex. He's got no problem promoting it. You see these little kids that's been out at the pride parades. They're in bars. They're throwing dollar bills at, grown men dressed as women, shaking their butts in front of them. They got the drag queen story time. They got allowing grown men with beards and wild, mustaches and wigs on and everything else and eyelashes, letting the kids sit on their lap as they read them books. I mean, what other sick person would have a problem with allowing this type of attitude and this spirit to dwell, unless it's the so-called white man? But it says it's in his blood, it's in the veins, that's the vine he comes from. That's the roots that he comes from. It said, and his grapes and are gall and clusters are bitter. So everything that he puts out there, it's not nutritious, it's not good for us, it's all foul. Like when you say, that's just like I sip this and I say, why does it taste like that? When you're in the spirit, you say, why did he do that? Like, what's wrong with him? It's in him. Read verse 33.
Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps.
See, and that's why when we read in Revelation 12, we talk about the great red dragon. I mean, that's him. Their wine, the wine of the wrath of the fornication that we read in Revelation 18 and other, I think it's in 17 and 16. That's the wine that he puts out, but it's all poison in the end. It's like Jim Jones Kool-Aid. Where he mixed it up and it looks sweet, looks good. He got ice on it, it's dripping off and it's hot. And you saying, here, go ahead, take a sip. And you take a little sip, you like, well, it tastes like Kool-Aid. It's not bad. You keep sipping, but in the end, it's poison. It's gonna kill you. That's why you can't you can't abide by what this man is pushing out there, because at the end of the day, there is no liberal attitude that we can have and take and say, well, the kids, they have a right to feel how they want to feel. You got no. The Lord said, hey, raise a kid in the way that he should go. He won't depart from it, spare not the rod, everything. The Lord told us how to raise our kids up. You ain't sitting back letting the kids better come home and report to you and tell you what happened at school today. You don't listen to the damn white man say, this is our talk. It's a private counsel between me and you. What do you call it? Not attorney-client privilege, but it's like a confidentiality between your therapist and the client or whatnot. So you don't have to tell mom and dad about what we talking about. We're gonna get you lined up. I want you to see this doctor. I'll give you a ride. What?
They used to try that even when we were kids.
Really?
Their doctor's appointments. They're like, if you want your parents to step out, they can. I was like, my mom's staying right here with me.
Can you imagine? Yeah. See, especially once they get of age, they really be pushing that. Like, as soon as this kid turns 18, they're like, oh, mom, dad, you got no, we can talk to him on no, you can't.
I was 14.
See, no, but they was even saying that with the roll-up program, that when they pushed it on the kids in the schools, they were saying some of the kids you didn't need to get permission from your parents to get it. You can get it already done, and then you come home with the paperwork saying, hey, look what I got. I got my sticker saying I've been, compliant. They was doing all that stuff.
That's when you know it's crazy, because if you go on a field trip, you got to get your parents' consent to sign the field trip.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
God, that's right. That's right.
you can't go without the signature.
Huh? Yeah, what you got? The precept? Yeah. What you got?
One question, she said, why did he do it?
Mm-hmm.
St. John 8:44.
St. John, we're going to go to St. John 8:44 with precept.
So why
Does the Esau do this? I can't help it. I'm the devil.
Book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth.
See, so it says that not only is he rooted in Sodom and Gomorrah, and comes from that vine, we come from the vine of Christ. Christ tells us in St. John 15 and verse 3 that he's the vine. And we know that he's a choice vine. Esau chose a whole nother vine, right? It says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. So the desires that he wants, the things that's of deceit, wickedness, that's what he's going to perform and do. He was a murderer from the beginning, so we know that that's speaking about Cain. Cain was given a mark of leprosy. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. Read on.
And abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him.
There is no truth in this man. There's no truth. Like he said, when he speaketh fair, don't believe him. He's got 7 abominations that he's going to do and say and cover up that one truth that he said. Keep reading.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Trust me. I'm on your side. I really can't. That's like brother sent a video a couple of days ago. There's a Pan-African movement in a group out in St. Louis. I forgot the name of it. And they got raided right after Trump. And they've been in around since the 60s. They've damn near 50-year organization. They do a lot of community work, but they're co-opting with Africa, right? And they were being held. They haven't been charged yet, but they expect an indictment saying that they've been working with some Russian guy who was using them for Russian propaganda and some other stuff. So they said, we don't deal with no Russian. Why would we do that? We're about our people, blah, 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 blah. Problem is they're co-opted with a gang of Edomites. Esau's the main donors. Esau's sitting around in there and they pro-black. Yeah, we're going to help you with reparations. How do you know one of these Edomites ain't the ones that's over here dealing with the Russians and then set y'all up? That's why the Most High said, don't be dealing with them. That's why I said when he speak a lie, he speaketh of himself because he's the father of it. These Jacksons over here thinking, oh man, white man really love it. Most of our donations come from white folks. It's helping us get our reparations in, help us build this center, help us build these basketball courts, and help us do these backpack drives. The white man sitting back saying, yeah. A gift destroyeth the heart. We should see that and understand that already. They may not have no direct relations with dealing with some white man in Russia. But you got a gang of Edomites all around you. How do you know they're not co-opted saying, yeah, everything's going right according to plan? You can start the raid now. We've already sent the money over. The wire transfer is done. It's in the foundation's name. They out of there. So we don't deal with them. But long story short, that's why white man does what he does. And we got to see all this folly. Look at this man that's here. Here's a good old pastor, Ben. Where's the Christian community at? Are they going to come out and condemn him or her and his lifestyle? Are they going to go out and speak against this? No. Pastor's wife 49 is jailed for life after getting her lover to kill him while he slept because he bullied her into threesomes. So the pastor, good old pastor, was bullying her into threesomes. But meanwhile, she cheated on him anyway. She confessed because guilt was eating her alive. This Esau boy is something else. Christy Evans, 49, will be eligible for parole in 2060 after serving nearly 45 years after admitting to her part in her husband's murder. Evans asked her lover, Khalil Square, so you see the name already, to fatally shoot her husband while he slept at their home in Ada, Oklahoma. Her husband was abusive and controlling during the marriage. She told the court she said he would force her to have sex with other men, sometimes with more than one at the same time during their swinging marriage. And this is a pastor. Now she's saying he forced her to sleep with other men, but meanwhile she was already doing it. So what are you talking about? This is how you know Esau's full of it. But look who she got. Look at Khalil Square. I mean, how does Jake? I guess the internet moving a little slow. Look at it. This is her lover. She 49. As y'all would say, a hot mess. I mean, it's steaming hot mess. Look at this fat, sloppy heathen, man. And here she go. found her some old ratchet Negro that's willing to lay with her, and this dude went and killed for her, put his life on the line for this fat white woman. Used and abused. I mean, look at it. And she telling us, dude, I'm with my husband. He's forcing me to have sex with multiple men. He's still riding with her. Hey, free me from my oppression. Kill my husband. And the dumb Jake agrees to go do it. Christy and her, wait a minute. Christy and her and David's lover, 20. Oh, I guess he was around with all of them. I didn't read that right. He was having threesomes. Because it says Christy and her and David's lover, 27 Khalil Square. See, the Jake is having sex with the pastor and the damn wife. Unreal. I didn't read that when I first seen this. I didn't read this caption right. I'm thinking it just said Christy and her lover, David. I didn't see David. 27-year-old Khalil Square were arrested in March on first-degree murder charges in connection with the pastor's killing. Good Lord, man. But this is what we see without natural effects. We've seen all this disorderly, functional stuff going on, man. I mean, she's a mess. I don't know what this Jake was thinking about in his damn right mind. But in cahoots with trying to see and understand what's going on, there's a disturbing trend going on in Israel. I don't know if y'all been seeing some of these little viral videos and stories that's going on, but like we talked about earlier, the internet is very seductive. And people are going online now, killing their families and killing themselves for clout, I guess. I mean, what are you just going to be immortalized with stories like this now? And meanwhile, your kids is dead, you done killed yourself. Oklahoma City father made online threats and videos stream before killing the 3 kids and himself. A man who killed 3 of his children early Saturday threatened their safety in an online video stream before shooting them and then turning his weapon on himself, authorities said Monday. Oklahoma City police say the deceased shooter, identified Francois Littlejohn, 29, streamed the video to Facebook after taking his children from their home, and they gave the address. So that's one. Here's another one. Connecticut moms, Sonia Loga, killed her 3 kids before taking her own life. Go to the curses, Deuteronomy. Because both stories with Jake. Deuteronomy 28. And let's read we can read 54 and then read 56 too. 56 and 57. 54.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. So that the man is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother.
So we know that that's going to be happening. We're going to have intertribal warfare that's happening amongst the children of Israel, amongst the men of Israel, that is. Eyes being evil toward our brother, whether it's through the streets, gang violence, and whatnot. I mean, you even seeing it now, even amongst woke Israel. You got Southern Kingdom. We ain't dealing with the Northern Kingdom. We don't like Hispanics. Some say we like it. All kind of madness going on. So, eyes gonna be evil toward his brother. Go ahead.
And toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave.
So we're going to see single-parent homes, domestic violence, and domestic issues that's going to be happening within our communities. Is that happening amongst the fake Jews? I mean, do we hear stories about them having these particular type of issues? Not at all. Drop down, read verse 56 and 57.
Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness.
I mean, our sisters were so feminine. They would rather be carried. They wasn't trying to get on that dirt, that ground, tender, delicate. Now you see these sisters out here, man, they wearing do-rags and boots and running around here talking about nigga this and hey, that's my B and this. You got these sisters out here that's wilding out, with the eyelashes, the wigs flying around. They out here twerking everywhere, just completely out of order. Smoking weed. What's the girls? Shalom, we're talking about Glorilla. I mean, the girls got pregnant women in their video twerking. They all riding around the car, smoking weed, acting a fool, just ratchet as ever. Pouring bottles of Hennessy in everybody's mouth. Oh, yeah. The Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. I mean, all those female entertainers that are allowing this type of attitude. I mean, even Beyonce. She's got the song talking about church girls and talking about dropping it before he was dropping it last night, and now let's go to church and be good girl. Like what?
This pastor came on, he was like, she done gave her soul to the devil.
That's about right. I mean, good Lord. I mean, this is the type of madness that's going on. And the influences that she done probably came from the church, singing in the church and all that. Now, even though what she's singing is true, because I'm sure there's a gang of women out there that's clubbing all night and acting the fool. They saying, I gotta get up and go to church tomorrow. They doing that, but damn, Beyonce, you ain't got to sing about it. They're talking about dropping it and doing all this extra stuff. And there's another video that was going around viral about there was a song called talking about drop it low for Jesus. And but it was a comedy sketch. But
That wasn't real?
That wasn't real. That is a comedy sketch. You seen that?
I made a comment.
No, it wasn't real. It's a comedy sketch. It's from the show called damn, my mom's worked on the show. Something showcase. It's two S's. Hold on one second. I gotta remember. It's called. And my memory didn't fail me. Dang, something showcase. Hold on. Yeah, no, that wasn't true. I know everybody was kind of like, "What? This is crazy, damn Israel, the Christians." But it was a comedy sketch. I forgot the name of it. Something showcase. But the fact that everybody reacted that way is because it was believable. It's not above and beyond reproach to think that somebody in the church would actually do that. So of course we all bit debate like, hey, what? Then I seen, I said, no, this can't be real. And I look back, I said, that's Sherman Showcase. Yeah, that's it. It's a comedy sketch. It's from there. If you look on YouTube, you'll find the actual skit, and right after she's singing, and she talking about she gonna drop it low for Jesus and dirty whining, and she's gonna see the kingdom, whatever. At the end of the sketch, the guy comes in. He's like the host of the show. He's like, whoa, okay, all right, no, we're not doing all that. Calm down, everybody. Let's move on. So it was a comedy sketch, but everybody thought it was real. But at the same time, like I said, it's not above thinking that I ain't even above a Christian to actually do that. But hey, Beyonce damn near was singing the same thing. So go figure. Finish that 56.
Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter.
So now we're going to see women being evil toward their own children, aborting them, handing them over into child sex trafficking rings, evil toward their husband, going at it domestically, and we're seeing them killing their children. Read on.
And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly, in the siege and straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates.
Right. Eat them, meaning that she's going to utilize them for profit and for gain. Right. So in times of need, you're going to see how they're going to be utilizing their children for attention, for money, for whatever they need to survive. Okay. Jump over to Ezekiel 16. Ezekiel 16, let's read 45.
Ezekiel chapter 16.
I can read verse 44.
Verse 44. Behold, every one that useth proverb shall use this proverb against thee, saying, As is the mother, so is her daughter.
So this is metaphorically speaking about, Israel and our relationship with the Most High, and uh, how we've gone against the Lord. After He dressed us up, after He brought us up, fed us, gave us knowledge, decked us out, finally, and everything else, then we went off and played the harlot against Him, right? So He said, this is the proverb that you're going to say, as a mother, so is her daughter. So you know that old saying when they say she get it from her mama? That's scriptural. The Most High said that first, right? Read on.
Thou art thy mother's daughter, that loatheth her husband and her children.
See, that's what's going to end up happening to the daughters of Israel. It said they're going to loathe their husband and their children. So when you get, man, I got this, one of my neighbors, she be wilding out. I don't know if she do daycare, whatever. I have no idea, but she cuts like a sailor. I mean, and I think she got a little, they not her kid. I think she might be their grandmother. So I don't know. All I hear is, mother effer, shut the F up. I'm like, wow. And these kids got to come up dealing with that, like on the regular. And it says she's going to loathe her husband too. So you're going to see rebelliousness in the house, not going to be wanting to move orderly in their homes, resenting against her husband. You see, on the other hand side, you see the white woman. She loathed her husband and went and got a damn Jake to kill him, and she, was out here acting a damn fool herself. But this is happening within our own community alone. Black women despising the white. You got sisters out here talking about what do they call that movement again? No. Well, the sisters out here desiring white men.
Oh, swirling.
Not swirling. They're calling it yeah. They're calling it divested.
Oh, that word.
Divested, right? So we're seeing that going heavily, right? But the Lord said they're gonna loathe their husband, so going against her children. Read on. 45.
Thou art thy mother's daughter, that loatheth her husband and her children, and thou art the sister of thy sisters, which loathe their husbands and their children. Your mother was an Hittite, and your father an Amorite.
See, and the Lord gave us them distinctions, saying, well, you're following after the ways of the heathen. In other words, not saying that's our true birth parents, Hittites and Amorites, but acknowledging that we were following after the ways that wasn't native to us by doing those things. So let me finish up a few of these and we're going to close out. All right. So here's another one. New Orleans mother arrested and charged with stabbing her 2 children, killing one and critically injuring another. And this one, she went online. And she was saying, it's all your fault, Jermaine. It's all your fault. And it just so happens that, the husband or her ex-husband or the baby daddy, whatever, he was trying to get custody of the children to at least have visitation on the weekends, and was citing that she wasn't mentally stable or providing a good environment for the kids. So rather than her embracing the fact that you actually have a man in these cursed conditions that's willing to be there for her children, you would rather kill the kids because he's trying to get time with them. And in other words, and he's saying the truth. Obviously, she wasn't stable because she went and stabbed and killed one of them. Rather than just saying, look, I can't deal with these kids. Jermaine, come get the kids. She's living on some, if I can't have, neither can you type stuff. Now she want to cry in the damn lineup. It's too late for that, right? So it says at the time that the father of the children came, once the word got out, like, hey, your baby mama's over here wilding out on live. She talking about killing the kid. He rushes over there, gets the kids, but it was too late. So, this type of madness is going on in Israel, man. It's a bad trend that's happening. And like we said, the internet is what's entertaining them, figuring I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing, even if it means destruction, wickedness, and evil. All right. Look at it. Same-sex Georgia couple charged with abusing adoptive sons making child pornography. Again, Esau, of course, thank Obama for allowing them to get married. And look what they do. Now that they're a married couple, they can adopt, and they went ahead and took advantage of the kids. I don't know if the kids were Israel or not. It's just the fact that sodomites is out of control, man. They're so obsessed with sexuality. It's so crazy. Every time we go out teaching and we speak about something, the first thing they want to do is kiss and hug in front of you and rub each other up and act like in defiance, look what we're doing. So what? We don't care. It's like, do you have like biological knowledge that you can come back and talk to me about? Can you tell me about your upbringing? First thing they want to do is just outright just sexually exploit themselves in front of you, and that's their argument. Is this what we want? This is what we like, and we're obsessed with, our sex and what we want to do lasciviously in our bedrooms, and we're going to rub it in your face. Put some kids in their hands and you see what they do. Unbelievable. Now check this out. Woman found burning, hanging from a tree in Griffith Park apparently took her own life.
Police were claiming.
Hello.
I know.
Now I don't know if she was Israel or not. They said she ain't been identified. I don't know. This was a couple of days ago. I got the article. I don't know if some new developments have happened. But she's burning and hanging and killed herself. Which did she do first?
Exactly.
Did she set herself on fire, then get the news together? Did she get the news first and still had enough awareness to burn it? Come on, man. I wanted to share this real quick. Look at it. This brought back memories of this for me. When they say, "Oh, this was a suicide." Come on. And there's been recent accounts of lynchings that they all say were suicides. But 1893 lynching by fire of Henry Smith, a spectacle in Texas, shocked many, but did not bring an end to lynching. So, of course, we see all these little white men down here. They stringing the brother up. They lynched him. They burnt him. They tortured him before this. They was burning him with irons before they lynched him. They accused him of raping and murdering a 4-year-old girl. This is 1893. So if slavery so-called was abolished in 1865, so what are we talking about? Like 32 years later, there still was lynching and killing our people. So this was in Texas, Paris, Texas. The lynching of Henry Smith, the black laborer in Paris, Texas on February 1st, 1893 was extraordinarily grotesque. Accused of raping and murdering a 4-year-old girl, Smith was hunted down by a posse. When returned to town, the local citizens proudly announced they would burn him alive. That boast was reported in news stories which traveled by telegraph and appeared in newspapers from coast to coast. The killing of Smith was carefully orchestrated. The townspeople constructed a large wooden platform near the center of town, and in view of thousands of spectators, Smith was tortured with hot irons for nearly an hour before being soaked with kerosene and set ablaze. Now, give me that in Deuteronomy 28. And see, and we know in those days, our people was not given a fair trial. We know, just look at what's her name, Emmett Till. They say we whistled out a white woman. They beat that young brother, unrecognizable, shot him, and all kind of men.
You see the last paragraph there, where it says the last paragraph?
Which one? This one? Not,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Photographs. Read that.
This one, the extreme, or are you talking about where the quotations
Photographs
are?
of the torture
photograph.
and burning of Smith.
Photographs of the torture and burning of Smith were taken and later sold as prints and postcards. And according to some accounts, as agonized screams were recorded on a primitive graphophone and later played before audiences as images of his killings were projected on the screen. Profiteering off of our death. But check this out. I was going to read this quote here. Never in the history of civilization has any Christian people stooped to such shocking brutality and indescribable barbarism as that which characterized the people of Paris, Texas, and adjacent communities on the 1st of February, 1893. So these are good Christian folk. Good Christian folk that did this, right? Deuteronomy 28, and let's read this curse in read 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning.
You see that? Extreme burning. Read.
And with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
See, this was one of our curses, but when I seen that story, I said, wait a minute.
That's this lady in Long Beach. She got arrested yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Every time a black person moved in the building, She get a rope and she be like, "This is what's gonna go around your neck. This is what's." They was in the news yesterday. She got arrested yesterday.
Wow.
Stop playing with a rope.
And our people run around talking about, oh, times have changed. That was the past,
Oh,
2022.
no.
What? And we still got stories about a woman. Like I said, I don't know who she was or what nationality she was. It wouldn't surprise me if she was Israel, though. Found burning and hanging, and they said, oh, that's a suicide.
You know that was Israel.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't, but if it was, I mean, if it wasn't, still the fact that, there's half-ass work that these cops would do just to say, there's got to be a suicide. She set herself ablaze and then hung herself. Get out of here. Okay, updated. 1 dead, 3 others wounded. The shooting outside of 24-hour fitness in Brentwood. Isn't that OJ territory? And the rich folk. So, and they were fighting over a basketball game. Somebody got shot. This is the second time somebody got shot at the gym. It was a couple weeks ago in San Antonio. Somebody got killed in the 24-hour fitness. So, got to be careful everywhere we go now because as we're seeing, perilous times is ahead of us. Sinkholes. Car is swallowed by a sinkhole in Newark as 72-inch break-in water main wreaks havoc and leaves the entire city, including trauma hospital without running water. This was in New Jersey. And we're seeing a lot of sinkholes happening. Go to Isaiah, I think 24. So the earth itself is deteriorating under Esau's watch. This is why he got to be removed. He got to get out the way. Because otherwise everything is going to collapse. 24:19.
Isaiah chapter 24, verse 19. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved.
You see that? So if we read earlier in the chapters talking about how the earth is defiled and everything that's going on within the earth, the conditions within the earth, under the inhabitants thereof, now it's saying the earth is utterly broken down and the earth is clean dissolved. So that's what they say. The water erosion is happening underneath of the earth. It starts to break down, and next thing you know, the land starts collapsing. So this is our prophecy being fulfilled as we're seeing these sinkholes popping up all over the place. So this was in Newark, in New Jersey. This is another one in Chile. They said this one was big enough to swallow the White House. And we're talking about within months of each other. This was, the article was 10 hours ago, so this was only within the last couple of days. This other one was August 10th, so we're talking about within the last 2 to 3 days, multiple sinkholes have been opening up. There was another one in China, I think, I want to say in May. Now look, Baltimore, neglected infrastructure led to North Avenue sinkhole. Are there more to come? So we're seeing this prophecy being fulfilled. Read 19 again.
The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly.
Right. So we're seeing everything that the earth is going through. As we keep reading down, you'll see, the conditions that's happening in the earth, how it's going to affect the people. But that's all I needed that. You see in Vegas, they have floods and they said 17,000 people was out of power. They have flooding over there. I guess it's their monsoon season right now. I remember last year they had some heavy rains and winds going on in Arizona. And I had hit a brother up over there. I'm like, man, y'all get stuff like this? I'm thinking it's unnatural. He's like, yeah, it usually happens sometime during the summer. So they get monsoons, but it's hit the strip now. Sin City actually is getting hit with the flood. Imagine that. Let's move on. Now check this out. Beachgoers shit. Have y'all ever seen that movie, Final Destination, where you're destined to die? It doesn't matter. You can't cheat death. Look at it. Beachgoer 63 dies after being impaled by a beach umbrella when strong winds lifted the pole out of the sand and drove into her chest in front of her horrified friends who screamed at her to duck. How? Can you imagine? That's only the Most High. The Most High said, shh. They saying duck, and they stabbed her butt right in her chest. Man. Go to Job 28. 28 and read 23 down to 28. That had to be unbelievable. And they sitting there telling her to duck, and next thing you know, she got stabbed by a beach umbrella. That's only the Lord. 28, read 23 down to 28.
Job chapter 28, verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
God understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof.
Read.
For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven,
Mm-hmm.
to make the weight for the winds.
Wait a minute. He said the Most High makes the way to the wind. So the Most High controls how hard that wind blows. He controls the temp. I mean, he controls the tornadoes, the strong winds, the gusts, the Santa Ana winds that we get out here. The Lord said that He makes the way. So whatever amount of wind that it took, the Most High said it's time for her to get put to death. She's out of here. And the Lord weighed that wind and said, how long is it going to take to blow, hit its target, impale her, put her to death? That was all of the Most High. So the Most High said He makes the way for the winds. Read.
And a way for the lightning of thunder. And he weigheth the waters by measure.
Go ahead.
When he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning of the thunder.
Right. So it's not Mother Nature, none of that. The Most High said He does everything. We got a tsunami, that's the Most High. You get people getting hit by lightning like there was in India, that's the Lord. Go ahead.
And unto man then did he see it and declare it. He prepared it, yea, and searched it out.
Mm-hmm.
And unto men he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding.
So when we see and know the power of the Most High, He said, well, your best bet is to fear the Lord, so you can gain some wisdom and depart from evil, so you understand the ways of the Lord. So we got to use wisdom and understanding and see stuff like this. I mean, I looked at that stuff. I said, damn. I said, how does that happen? Tammy Peralt, whatever her name is, Peralt? Yeah, Tammy P. Tammy P. Had to be. I mean, because we've all been at a beach or been somewhere where your umbrella, flies up, and you gotta go chase it down, and it's rolling all over the place. But for this thing to sit up here and fly up and become a spear, that means it had to have closed too. Unless, listen, I don't know, man, but Tammy's out of here. The Lord said, Tammy, your day has come. And that's a cold way to go. As her friends are saying, duck. Wow. So in Europe, they're saying nothing's left in the pipes. They're relying on water truck deliveries. There's such a drought over there in France and other countries in Europe. So it's only going to show even more of the struggles that's going to be happening as we keep moving forward. They're relying on water to come in. They ain't got no water to the pipes in certain areas in Europe right now. Coming soon to a city in America near you. Look, Pope Francis, he's meeting with the trannies in Rome. This is why it says a slap in the face, because he go to Canada, or I want to go meet with the Native Americans and apologize for what's going on over there. But at the same time, he double back and go meet with the trans community. Like, what's this dude really on? But what's he say down here? Francis has earned praise from some members of the LGBT. See, they put LBGT. They all over the place. I thought it was LGBT. Whatever. HIV. Community for his outreach. When asked in 2013 about a purported gay priest, he replied, "Who am I to judge? You're supposed to judge. What are you talking about?" Give me Matthew 23. This is how our people need to learn why the Catholic Church is out of order and out of control. He says, when he's dealing with a purported gay priest, he says, "Who am I to judge?" Amidst all of the pedophile accusations and criminal activity they've been busted on, all of the sodomite stuff that's been happening over there, and he says, "Who am I to judge? If I got a gay priest that's praying on the damn altar boys, who am I to judge? Let that go." No, we don't let anything go like that. Are you crazy? 23, Matthew, and I think I want 23.
Book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 23.
Right.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites!
Right.
For you pay tithe of mint and anise, and come in and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
So they make sure that them tithes is coming in. They said, but what? And they omitted the weightier matters of the law. So the other aspects of the law that really matter, what do? They took them out. What's one of the laws? Read on.
Judgment, mercy, and faith.
Wait a minute. The first thing he said is they omitted those things. Judgment. What did he say? Oh, who am I to judge? The Lord said, "You're a damn hypocrite. You omit the weightier matters of the law." Finish that.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Right. So they said he's supposed to do those things and not leave them undone. But leave it to him. He's got no problem with the sodomites. He's all good. Furtherly showing what they're up to. You guys can write down Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4 as well. Habakkuk 1 and 4 on that. Almost done. Ring Nation, Amazon's reality show. Alada, you mentioned that. They love some reality shows. They've, conditioned and softened everybody's stance on surveillance and security. They even got shows, Big Brother, Real World, and all them other, shows where they got no problem intrusively moving in people's lives, following it around. People have embraced it. There are some good things that Ring has caught on camera and stopped some crimes and people stealing stuff or people getting killed or followed home. Sure, but now you want to make a reality show off of the Ring technology where everybody is being under surveillance and they're being watched and tracked and traced and monitored. I'm not with it. But it's entertainment. They always say, "Oh, it's just for TV. Oh, it's just comedy." No, this is really where they're trying to go with this stuff. So they're gonna have a show on Amazon called Ring Nation, and it's based after Ring, and having everybody's homes under the surveillance technology of Ring. So this is what they're trying to do now, and that's it. That's all we're gonna cover today. I know that was a lot to swallow and digest, but had to do it. All praise on the glory to the Most High. Make sure everybody's good. I neglected the work in the comments. All right, everybody's straight. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close out. Shalom to everybody that's online. Hopefully y'all be well. Take care. See y'all on the next go round. Out of here. Shalom.